Hey everybody, Kale here. Welcome back to the channel. I am excited to share with you what we've got going today, and we're doing things a little bit differently. All right, we've got a lot here, and my intention is also to make the videos a hair bit smaller. I'd like to keep it under 20 minutes, and so I'm just gonna get straight to it. I am bringing in some new aspects, all right? So still using Tarot of the Witch's Garden, all right, by Sasha and Nataša Ilínčíć. Also integrating some Hermetic Kabbalah into this. I may specifically point out when and where that is. Some of it will be obvious, and other parts I may just kind of share with the whole. This is really becoming a bit more of a blended experience. We're gonna go deeper, a bit more expansive. And yeah, and the readings themselves are orienting a little bit differently. I don't know that I'm gonna take you straight through. We'll see. We're gonna see how it goes. I'm not even gonna try to speculate. I'm gonna see what feels right in this moment. Okay, so we're gonna get started here. And what we have an anchoring card. Okay, we've got a focus card, like a theme, if you will. And what we get actually was the Empress in reverse. Okay, the Empress in reverse. And so I'm actually going to make it upright. The reverse aspect is not particularly relevant for this, because right now it's really just about the archetype of Empress. Though the reversed aspects may be have a connection for you, and other aspects of the reading might help with that. And if that is the case, some of those aspects are depletion, overgiving, self-neglect, creative blockage, dependency on external affirmation. The fertile field is either exhausted or not being treated with reverence, and identity built around being needed. All right, so that's the reverse aspect of this card. If that resonates, there certainly might be parts of this reading that help with that. Otherwise, again, the main focus is simply the Empress. So I'm just leaving her in upright here. Okay, so the Empress can represent creativity, generative life force, and birthing waters. Okay, she's known as the mother through which brings all things, through which all manifestation occurs. Okay, and so in Hermetic Kabbalah, the Empress corresponds to the Hebrew letter Dalet, which is also the number 4. Okay, and Dalet means door. All right, so that's a threshold, an entrance, a passage into enclosure or form. I love that, a passage. And she's also birthing waters. Love that, right? Okay, the Empress is the pathway from the sphere of Chokmah, which is wisdom, to Bina, which is understanding. Okay, so she is the pathway from wisdom to understanding. I love it. The Empress as Dalet is the fertile doorway through which force becomes life. She is the matrix through which primal masculine dynamism, Chokmah, right? So through which the primal masculine wisdom meets formative womb intelligence, Bina, formative womb intelligence of understanding. Okay, so she's the matrix through which wisdom meets understanding. Okay, and as the path between the two, she mediates the great polarity, seed and womb, impulse and gestation, life force and creation. Okay, and this is why the Empress is not merely mother, but the doorway of manifestation. All right, so that is what we've got as our anchoring card, which really comes in beautifully at this time. We've got a new moon in Pisces tonight. Pisces is water. And I found a quote from Unveil the Invisible that says, Pisces is the sign that dissolves. It returns everything to water. The cycle that ran their course, the emotional weight you kept organizing instead of releasing, the version of you that kept showing up for things that stopped deserving your energy long ago. The moon is pulling all of it back into the ocean. Let it go. I love that. So we have that happening at this time. All right, this is the last new moon in the astrological year. We've got the first new moon since eclipse season ended. Okay, and we've got it being this is also from Unveil the Invisible. We're 2 days before the Spring Equinox, which is nature's new year, 2 days before Mercury stations direct, and 2 days before the beginning of Aries season. And Strange Trail says that Aries, the first flame of the zodiac, carries the fire of initiation. Beautiful, again, creation, generative life force. I love it. And this person also says that with the spring equinox coming up, it's the sacred spark of a new story. So again, we've just got, I just love the cosmic alignment around all of this right now, with the reading, with what's going on astrologically, with where we are individually and collectively. It's happening. That's what's up. So moving on to the next, right? Okay, next we pull Two of Pentacles, okay? The card of division. Also, okay, twos can represent polarity. Twos, which I love because we just said that that with the Empress, we've got the polarity of seed and womb, what was it, impulse and gestation, and then ding, 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 life, force, and creation. So more polarity. Twos are also choices to be made. All right. Two also is the first differentiation from unity, from one. So from oneness, two follows oneness. The first differentiation, you know, illusion or not, right? From that oneness. And so what came to mind was this notion of separation as choice, just as much as it is natural, or unnatural, one could say. So just the interesting polarity there. Yeah. Yep. Default versus choice, and then the combination even of choice being part of what's natural. And there's so many ways to go with this. So for whoever that just like is like stimulating your brain and thought, like, by all means, have at it. It's so fun. We've got twos also representing the sphere of Chokmah, which is wisdom. So that's raw movement, dynamic energy, polarity beginning to emerge. Love that. Again, that split 1 into 2. And so with it being pentacles, okay, that is, you know, physical world manifestation, so material manifestation and how things come to form, which love that, how things are coming to form. And here we are with that mother card, that generative life force energy, right? And that passage, the birthing waters from wisdom to understanding, from inner to outer. Okay, right? We've taken that inner wisdom, and the translation of that to understanding produces an external physical result, right? We got that the birth of that, okay, that the creation, okay. And so this is, you know, from in Hermetic Kabbalah, this is movement between two practical demands, because again, this is going to be that physical everyday life, as well, alongside that some of the deeper aspects that we can focus on or highlight, okay? Because again, this is minor arcana, which is the kind of the day-to-day. The major arcana is the bigger soul level stuff. But I mean, really, with what's present, we can kind of take it both ways, either way. Anyway, whatever. So movement between two practical demands. So I've got conscious choice there related to the physical world, okay? So that could be adaptive balance, practical flexibility, the ongoing dance of managing limited resources, rhythm over perfection. Balance is dynamic, not static, and learning rhythm under pressure. Okay, and so I think many of us are feeling that in our personal lives. Certainly, we're seeing it play out in the collective level, that we're being asked, invited, forced, demanded into mastery of this flexibility, of this adaptive balance, of the ongoing dance of managing limited resources, of learning rhythm under pressure. And that could be displayed in a number of ways, whether that's finances, work, parenting, creativity, you know, vocation, whatever's going on, however that balance is coming out for you. We're experiencing that, where there's an invitation to kind of master this movement and syncing up with nature in that, and paying attention to nature with that. I think it's, though I didn't look this up, but I think it might be like a Lao Tzu quote of Lao Tzu. Oh, I might be mispronouncing that, Lao Tzu, of like, you know, of nature never hurries, but yet everything is accomplished, or like nature never rushes, yet everything is accomplished. And so this balance of navigating like real time pressure and real need with like in the moment, like sorting out like, wait a second, well actually, and here I am already going into this card, which I mean, I'll say it, that's fine, which is, you know, sorting out like, is using that discernment, right? Of like, well, wait, like, is this the actual moment? Like, am I like really pressing through? Like, am I aligned right now? And really being conscious around that. And that's where sometimes we find these pockets of ease, even within time demand or pressure. These pockets exist. And so there's an invitation to be conscious of that, to master that, to be aware of that. Okay, and so the challenge, I think, of some of this, right, is as the king of, or as the Knight of Swords in reverse energy. Okay, so knight can be teenage energy. It can also represent action and pursuit. Swords is going to be that mental structure and how we interpret reality. Okay, and so generally, okay, in an upright, the Knight of Swords is forceful thought and motion, action driven by conviction, urgency, mental clarity, cutting through stagnation, not always gently. Okay, in reverse, that's suggesting that same energy, that same force, only kind of misdirected or misused, misguided, which is rash, combative, reckless, disconnected from emotional consequences. It's the sword moves faster than discernment, and that oftentimes creates more issues and complications. So in this time of navigating this balancing act and navigating this pressure, we're really wanting to bring in discernment as well, right? So it's speed is not the same as clarity, or no, speed is not the same as clarity, and we're wanting to yoke or marry conviction to discernment. In other words, do not let the pressure of the balancing act push you into moving too quickly. And if you must move quickly, it's the whole be quick but not in a hurry, right? Use discernment and feel into your body that conviction. And it can be hard, particularly if you're in survival mode or fight or flight, and still it is possible. I'm not going to make assumptions or judgments about any other person's body. I can only speak for myself and know that I have experienced, in the face of immense pressure, of true survival mode, the ability to discern and sync up with natural rhythm of like nature's rhythm, of a life rhythm, and that's again when I hit those pockets where it's like, oh, I'm actually navigating this day or this moment, like this is actually being navigated with ease because I'm syncing up with it differently, and I'm not just like, I'm not letting the actual energy of the moment dictate the energy of the now, like, right? And like those are like the same thing, right? And yet also different. So there's an invitation here, and however that speaks to you, whatever that means for you, I trust you'll know. Okay, Sasha also, she references that a waxing crescent moon reflects a developing situation. That's what's here. Okay, and again, this could be a situation that is continuing to develop, it's starting to develop, whatever that is for you. This is the card of defending oneself and others. Again, we're seeing that and needing more of that right now in this time. And this could also mean stop to consider options before making plans or communicating with others, right? So maybe this is a like, hey, whoa, slow down. Give that a second thought before you proceed. Again, these are all these are all being blended together. So that might mean give it a conscious choice here. Conscious choice when we're going to take that physical action. Okay. However that's looking for you. Next, we are moving into Judgment. Judgment in reverse is what we've got following those cards, okay? This is the card of Revolution, all right? Hermetic Kabbalah says this is awakening to a higher calling. All right, this is also a card that is associated with Shin, the Hebrew letter Shin, and in Hermetic Kabbalah, that represents that tooth, or fire-consuming transformation, okay? And this is moving from the sphere of Hod to Malkuth, so the sphere of splendor to the sphere of the kingdom, which is like from the sphere of like mind and language and patterning to lived reality and completion. Okay, so this Judgment card in that revolution, that higher calling is moving. We're taking that from mind and pattern, right? Probably from inner to outer, moving through the birthing waters, right? This is the birthing waters. This is the pathway, the door, all right, into that lived reality. The Shin is also suggesting that it's resurrection through the consuming path. What came through for me was walking through fire. The only way out is through. Here we are, right? In Hermetic Kabbalah, it says this is the call that bites through old identity. Again, perfect with what we've got going on astrologically. And again, you know, what we're birthing here. Okay. We've got awakening, reckoning, reconstruction, the fire that summons the dead parts of the self to rise. Okay, Shin is also purifying, penetrating, transformative. And, you know, I was thinking outside of you know, Kabbalah specifically, you know, on the mezuzah, there's a Shin. And the Shin represents Shaddai, which is another name for God. El Shaddai, but Shaddai. And to serve as divine protection over, you know, houses and doorways. And I love it, over doorways, right? So like here was the Empress is connecting with Dalit, which is the door. And so to me, combining that, you know, was like, you know, that there's safe passage, there's protection as you navigate through this doorway or through these doorways. So safe passage through the birthing waters, okay, individually and collectively. And I'm sensitive to the fact that, like, it's not safe for a good number of people right now. And I mean it, I do mean it individually, right? For who, this is so hard to say. Oh, this is a whole nother level of explanation, but there is safety here. There is safety here in this passage, in what we're specifically talking about. And then when it comes to the collective, like, we need this. We need the higher calling to make it safe. Maybe that's what it is. Interesting. To like make it, to help, like, we are part of the safe passage, right? So like all of us are providing that, and that in fact it will happen. Where we're going is going to happen. And again, I know that means loss along the way. I do know that. Obviously, we're seeing that every day. We've been seeing that for a very long time. So just to want to be clear, that, and also that in spite of that, that doesn't mean that there's that it's not safe passage. I do believe that there is safe passage for you moving into these higher callings. All right, and so Sasha says, the poem with this card is, wake up, rise, new days begin, heed the call and bare your skin, embrace the fullness, rejecting lack, no turning around, no going back. And I love this. I love that again, that eclipse portal closed, boom, it's done, it's shut. You know, we're releasing so much. This is, again, we've got nature's new year coming up. We're moving into the new. We're dropping a lot of stuff. Again, that Pisces new moon, that Pisces is dissolving everything back into water, into these birthing waters, right? We're taking the wisdom, we're understanding, and we're bringing it out from the inner to the outer. And what came to mind to me after that no turning around, no going back, was this notion of the gift of closed doors, okay? And how oftentimes, you know, this notion of there's no going back is often said, like, kind of in pain and with regret and maybe even shame. I feel like there's a lot of focus when it's like there's no going back, you know, or it's somebody, like maybe it's in a show or a movie, whatever, where somebody's having to say there's no going back, right? Like where they're having to talk somebody through a moment, right, where it's really hard to let go, or they're wishing they could go back, or they're, again, maybe hanging on to regret. And then other times it's said when you're moving forward and it's like we're about to do something here where there's no going back. But specifically, again, what came to mind for me was this gift of the closed door, because with this notion of no going back, and as that is a concrete, decisive thing, it eliminates choice and gives us no other option but to move forward. And I think that there is actually a gift in that when we can accept it. And I think it's a process to accept it. And there's a gift there when we can. And part of that gift, I think is spoken to what Sasha says around this being a reversal, is that the reversal can reflect self-doubt, avoidance of calling, refusal to let the past be redeemed, fear of stepping into a higher level of responsibility. The call is sounding, but you are hesitating. And again, to me, that connection with the gift of the closed door, it can eliminate self-doubt, because there is no choice. It doesn't matter all of the anxieties and thoughts and fears or doubts and regrets of what happened back then. It doesn't matter. Like, we're moving forward, and we're like, that's it. There's one movement here in this so-called, this like non-linear reality, and so many things being non-linear, yet we have this illusion of things being linear. And so this part of this gift of the illusion of this being linear is like, yeah, there is no going back. We're not in this way, we're not going back there, right? You got to do some other things if you're trying to time travel, right? And there's prayer, and there's other ways that we can connect with other moments in time. And we are here today with what that was, and there are aspects of that are closed doors, right? So when there's a gift there, and again, this notion of refusing to let the past be redeemed, I think that it can be redeemable when we accept that closed door and accept the grace of the now moment. There is something really deeply to that, and that, you know, that could go into a whole bunch of, you know, grace and forgiveness and truth telling, you know, which is, you know, repentance, teshuva, you know, in Hebrew is to return, right? And it's a return. It's not, doesn't have to be this big scary word like repentance and the, you know, hell and brimstone, you know, unless it's like the fire related to like creative impulse, right? But like it doesn't have to be scary. It's a return to truth, a return to self, a return to your heart, a return to God, your higher power, these birthing waters, right? So that really, like, there's redemption there. Okay, so what else do we have? Awakening asks for response, not mere recognition. Rising from old identity into vocation, again, inner to outer. Sasha writes, I'm just gonna jump through these. The Judgment card echoes the tectonic plate of change carrying you along into your next evolution. Those birthing waters, wisdom to understanding. We've got the metaphor of being born again in your own skin. Again, born again in your own skin. We've got that water, that Pisces, loving it. This card appears as a message you can't ignore. It is a call from the outer world that aligns with your inner call. Again, outer world that aligns with your inner call, that inner to outer, you know, life force, and to create creativity, you know, the inside to that manifestation, wisdom to understanding. All right, the doors of possibility are blown open. Again, door, dalit, here we go. All right, we've got what, this was Shin, I believe, right? Am I doing the wrong? Actually, no, that was the other card, I think, wasn't it? Double check. Ding, ding, ding. Yep, that was the... Oh, this was Shin. I'm still on the same card. Holy, hand in a basket. Talk about time warp. Hello. All right. We've got, it is the glorious truth of who you are, open, viable, and breathing. Judgment shows us that what it means to be free. You have transformed, and the world changed along with you. All right. So some of you may know exactly what this is. There may be this big booming inner call that you have. You've been getting the taps on the shoulder and the nudges, and you know what it is you've been resisting and avoiding and not yet stepping into. For others, it might not be so obvious, okay? There may not be this big booming call, all right? If it's not the big booming call for you, what came through is this is a call to scrutinize every area of your life with truth. And I know that might sound intense, and scrutinize, I was like, oh, that's kind of an intense word, but that's what came to mind. This is a call to scrutinize every area of your life with truth, and scrubbing was also a specific word. Scrubbing every area of your life with truth. Okay, in our previous reading, we got the Lover's card, all right, and that was speaking to aligning will and heart, all right, aligning your values and your intention. And so the question is, like, are you walking the talk? Are you really living within your own truth and integrity? Okay, this is this time of truth telling and revealing and exposure is not only reserved for billionaires and politicians. Okay, this is all of us. This is everybody, because you can be the sweetest, kindest, most compassionate person in the world, but are you living an honest life, right? Because if we are in this energy of honesty and truth-telling and integrity, right, like, that requires all of us to do it, and then it becomes more powerful the more of us that are living in truth and integrity, okay? And that doesn't mean we can't have grace and patience, and it's not about perfection. It is really just about truth and integrity, because again, it's the whole. This is a collective thing. And so we're not wanting to just point fingers. We want to look at ourselves too. And it doesn't matter how grand a scale. Like, we want to look, like, this is a real call to show up, right? This is a call to create safety, right? For everyone. And actually, I'm getting even ahead of myself. But it was a perfect segue, actually, into this closing card, which was a Knight of Wands in reverse, okay? Knight of Wands in reverse. At its best, when it is in upright, when this energy is in upright, this is an action and pursuit towards the creative impulse, towards the desire to act. It is charisma, it is passion, it is this loving, you know, devotional, romantic energy, that will stop at nothing to get its heart's desires, right? And in its best form, it is the protector card. It is the protector, okay? And when this is in reverse and when this is misguided, all right, this can harm. This can harm. We can help or we can harm, okay? You can be the protector, you could be the perpetrator, you know, and that's a kind of an intense word, but like, you know, I'm painting the picture here. And so, you know, this is, here we go. The soul lesson of this card is passion must learn responsibility if it is to build rather than burn. All right. Okay, because again, in this energy, in reversal energy, it's conquest energy, recklessness, thrill seeking. I mean, we are seeing the Knight of Wands in reverse play out massively on the global stage. We're seeing this very clearly today and politically. All right, you know, this is that like teenage angst. Okay. And we've got to pay attention to that. We've got to pay attention to it within ourselves, like, you know, and those impulses, and not to shame them, but what are they speaking to? You know, like, what are these undesired sides, or maybe the various like shadow aspects, or like, what is it speaking to? Because it, like, allow it to have a voice, you know, and pay attention so it doesn't get misguided, and work with it and listen to it, right? Don't avoid it. Listen, so we can really get this on the right track here, get it moving along. Okay, the spiritual initiation is refining appetite into directed fire. All right, because again, this energy in reverse is impulsive, inconsistent, restless, self-centered, where desire has outrun discipline. Okay, and motion becomes volatile. All right, so we want to come back to bringing in balance. All right, we want that adaptive balance. Okay, so this is a call. This is a call for us all to go internal, and to also see again how this plays out on the large stage. Okay, another call here, as again, it's heeding the call, but it's also getting up and moving, exercising body and soul. It's pent-up aggression that needs to be worked out, taking a chance, go out on a limb and challenge yourself. Okay, it begs the question, how far am I willing to go? All right, and that can be in beneficial ways and maybe not beneficial ways. And so I leave that to you to see, you know, what's really the most honest call right now. Like, what's the honest truth, you know, about where you are in that. And so again, you know, we want to be the protector. We want safe passage through the birthing waters. Okay, all right, like, we want to create that safety. All of us showing up as ourselves, being our full selves and loving our full selves, is going to create that safe passage, and we're protected as we step into that higher calling. Okay, that completes the reading for today, folks. Thanks for hanging in with me as we explored some new ways of navigation. I anticipate moving forward in this way unless something else calls, but this was actually part of my heeding the call. So here we are. On the back of that, couple housekeeping notes. If this resonates with you, if you enjoyed this content, please give it a like. I now know why people say that, because again, the algorithm wants that. It doesn't matter how many views something gets if people aren't engaging or interacting or showing that they like it. So if you do like it, if you didn't, please don't like it. But if you did, give it a like. That would be really helpful for me. You know, and if you want to comment, that's also helpful too. You don't have to, by all means, but yeah, engagement is helpful, and it tells YouTube that, like, hey, people want more of this, so let's share. And pass along to your friends, you know, if you think that they would like it. I want to make mention of a couple things, especially on the back of this card, and referencing a lot going on in the collective. I do have my Stan store back up and running, and so on that, the link is in the channel's homepage under offerings. Okay, and so I've got a few things that I just wanted to make mention here real quick. Okay, so I've got a gift to the collective, which is a free download, and that is a deck called Throne of the People, Constitution of Light. It is 27 principles of right power, sacred law, and the architecture of a healed, luminous world. And the intention there is for collective visioning, and perhaps could be even part of like a meditation practice, but just a collective visioning for what this world can look like. And so again, that's a free download for you. It is a gift from me to you. Yeah, that was a fun creation to work with. Okay. Let's see. I've got some digital attunement decks. They can be used digitally, or you can print them off. Okay, I've got a 22 card Trust Attunement Affirmation deck and an 18 card Liberation Attunement Light Code deck. All right, I've got a digital altar deck for stillness and reflection. Could also be used for journal prompts, and that deck is the Hearth of the Mist deck. Okay, and it comes with a companion guide as well, and so it's got images and words with that. I call it the Peace deck. It's a very Celtic Hills deck, very like cottage and fire and just my soft space. I love it. I love that energy. So you can, and there's examples. When you click on the decks, you can see some examples of what's in the deck. Okay, and then lastly, also personal readings. At the moment, what's just there is not the live readings, but video recorded readings. If this work resonates with you deeply and you feel very much that like this work and having a reading would be incredibly helpful, and if you are currently facing economic challenge that is making accessibility very difficult, please send me an email. My email is on the page when you click to book. Read through everything, and again, for those that can pay that, please do that helps with balance. And for those who are like, I know that this is the right thing, please don't hesitate to reach out and see if we can figure something else out. Okay, so I did my plug. I'll do more at another time, but that's what's there. Feel free to explore, and friends, please be safe, heed the call, work with nature and that balance. And I'm sending you all so much love and light. It's not an easy time, and I know that there are pockets of ease that are available to be had in very specific ways. So sending you all love and care, and I will see you in the next one.